Hey everybody, I'm Stacey, a licensed designer for Sizzix, Jacquard, and Couture Creations, here with this week's Take Two Tuesday event. If you've not seen a Take Two Tuesday event, well, welcome to all of you newbies, and for those of you who are regulars, it's good to see you back. A Take Two Tuesday event is a crafting class where I use products, the Stacey Park brand of products, from Sizzix Couture Creations and Jacquard, and we make a fun and easy make. It is definitely technique based, so I always try to bring you something unique to show, a way to use a product a little bit differently, and today is no exception. Wait till you see what I do with one of my products. I know there's going to be some audible gasps when you see it, but trust me, there is a method to my madness. Always. So part of these Take Two Tuesdays is also to promote independent retailers out there, whether they be a brick and mortar store or an online store. So I encourage you to look under the description of this YouTube, as I will have posted retailers where you can find this product right now. They are carrying the Stacey Park brand of Sizzix, perhaps my inks, perhaps my glitters, right now. So if you see something you love, by all means, check out those retailers. You may find that you have a local retailer you didn't even know about, or you find a new online store that makes your heart happy. We try to promote 2 independent retailers every time I do a Take Two Tuesday. So I'm hoping that we support our independents, we support those online shops, and we keep this hobby, this craft, this artistry going. Now for today I am going to do something that's a little bit out of the norm. I know if you're going to, like, I'm reaching for my glasses, you're going to audibly gasp. But before I get started, I want to show you the product that I'm going to be working with. I've been reading your notes and your comments, and I want to take the note that you gave me, which was to start by showing what I'm going to be using before I start my make. That way, if you're a retailer watching this, you know what to pull out and say, oh my gosh, did you see Stacey's Take Two Tuesday? We've got that product here. Or if you are a maker yourself, you know what to ask for at those independent stores. So it is me, Stacey. I'm a licensed designer for Sizzix, Jacquard, and Couture Creations, and today is a Take Two Tuesday event. If you're joining me during the live chat, over there, that would be 5 p.m. sunny California time, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Over there, the live chat is going on. Say hello, hello. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. All right, I'm going to tilt on down and show you what we're working with today. Are you ready? Me too. Time to make a make. Now, I am my own camera person, so we're going to just kind of go with me on this. Not overly tech savvy here. Okay, first things first. I'm going to be featuring Revealz paper. Revealz paper is from Sizzix. It is new. There are 10 colors. There's 4 of each sheet. I am going to be working with the A6 size today, and you are going to see what makes Revealz paper so flippin' spectacular. It is awesome. So I'm playing with that today. I am playing with 2 of my brand new Thinlit dies from May. These have just launched. I have my Swank spirals and my Radiant Rays. I'm going to be playing with both of these today. SKU numbers on these is 666649 and 666650. Swank spirals and Radiant Rays. I'm going to be playing with my Uptown Cosmopolitan Adornment stencil. So this is a single layer stencil, and it pairs with a stamp that launched in March. So these 2 are 2 peas in a pod. The stamp works independently of the stencil works independently of the stamp, but when you put them together, they are magic, and they are the Cosmopolitan Uptown collection. So the Adornment is going to be the stencil, and just the Cosmopolitan Uptown will be the stamp set. Sold separately, or you get them together, whatever makes your heart happy. I'm also going to be playing with the Squishy and the Knock Knock today. So I've got a silicone rubber pad and I've got an impression pad. I'll tell you, if you buy these 2 as a set, it sells for a lower price. I believe these are maybe $8.99 if you buy them individually, but I think if you buy the set where it's both of them together, it's maybe $14, $15, $16, so it's a little bit less. And I'm going to show you why we need these. I'm also going to be playing with my sand it blocks. There's 2 of them in here. This is the Sizzix sanding blocks. They are large format. Like I said, there's 2 of them in here. And for the price, it's worth just getting these as opposed to trying to figure out what grit you need for the paper. Sizzix has taken care of that. Last but not least, I'm going to be playing with a gotcha tool. So my gotcha tool is a wonderful tool to hold all of your crafty dies right there on your maker's space, and just it keeps things organized and easy for you. And even if you lose a die, that's okay. You're going to be able to find it because the gotcha tool picks it right up. Now I am going to start by talking about my Uptown Adornment stencil. I'm going to open it up and take it out. It is a full A5 size stencil. It's big. It's A5. And the reason why it is A5 is because the stamp that it coordinates with is also A5, so that you can stamp and then come in and color over the top with the stencil. But I wanted to do something a little different with these than just stenciling. I wanted to change them up a little bit. So I thought I was going to bring my Big Shot machine over. Now you can see the holes in the top, so these will work with the stencil and stamp tool. Even after I modify this, it will work with the stencil and stamp tool. You're like, modify? What are you going to do? Well, I wanted to add texture to a piece of paper, but I didn't want to stencil it. I wanted to emboss it. But can you emboss this? It is as thin as can be. It is a piece of stenciling film. How would you ever emboss this? I'm going to show you how. And while it's not this deep etched embossing, because it's not an embossing folder, it doesn't have 2 sides that hit together and you put a piece of paper in the middle and send it through and you get that 3D embossing, you can take your stencils and add texture to your paper and make magic with them. But with this one, well, it needs a little extra help. You see, my other stencils, I have another set of stencils, well, several of them, that are layering stencils. These stencils are smaller. See, look at that. They're way smaller than my single stencil that goes with my stamp. Do you see the size difference? That's going to play an important role today. And I think when you see, you'll understand. So I'm going to grab one of these and let's just bring over my Big Shot machine. So this is one of my Cosmopolitan stencils. Love it. It's a layering stencil. There's 4 pieces that go with it that make a beautiful design. But what I want you to see is that this is going to fit through my Big Shot machine, easy peasy. Fits right through, no problem at all. However, when I take my larger stencil, my A5 stencil, see, won't go through, it's too wide. I can't roll it through, and I want to roll it through. The technique that I want to do today, I want to be able to use my Big Shot machine. Now, Sizzix has given you quite a bit of area on either side. There's quite a bit of space over here that you don't use at all, just a little bit of space. And as long as I don't do anything with the holes at the top, I'm still going to be able to use this in my stencil and stamp platform. So what am I going to do? I'm going to give my stencil a haircut. I'm just going to trim a little bit off the sides. And you're like, wait, you're going to cut your stencil? Oh, but I am. Yes, I'm just going to cut a little bit off of each side. I just want to make it so that I can still use it with my stencil and stamp tool, but so I can roll it through my Big Shot machine. You're like, wait, what? Yes. So I'm trimming that extra off. I'm taking a little bit off the sides. I don't need to take anything from the bottom, and I'm not going to touch the top because that's going to allow me to still use that stencil and stamp tool. So I've taken some off the sides. I'd like to take some off the bottom too, but oh well, that's a whole nother conversation. Now, what am I going to do with this? Typically, you would take paper and you would add some ink and you'd stencil with it. But I wanted to add texture into paper. Texture, something that you can see and feel and touch, where it looks dimensional, but because this is a stenciling element, it is more flat. There's not that high and low of a 3D embossing folder. So I am going to bring my Big Shot machine over, and I'm going to see if I trimmed off enough to send this through. Well, look at there. I sure did. Absolutely. So this is where the Revealz paper comes into play. And Revealz paper is beautiful. It really is just beautiful. Comes in 10 colors, and there's 4 sheets each. And what makes it unique and special is how you use it. So let's maybe take a teal and maybe a green and maybe, let's see what colors I've got over here. I've got some golds, I've got some pinks, I've got some silvers. Maybe a blue. All right, let's play with those colors. And again, what makes it special is that when you tear it or you sand it, it tears to a lighter shade of what you're working with. You've got one color here, one color here, same color flip side, but when I tear it or I sand it, look at the color I achieve. It is not white core. No, it is not solid core. If it was solid core, it would be this color all the way through. This is color core paper, and it's pretty amazing. So I'm going to let's grab my first one, and I want to add texture to this piece of paper. That's what I want to do, just add a little bit of texture to this piece of paper, and I want to use a stencil to do it. But I don't want to use inks or pastes. How am I going to get that done? Easy peasy. Bring over my Sizzix Big Shot machine. Now, if I had a switch machine or a plus machine, I wouldn't have had to give my stencil a little haircut because the machine is a little bit wider. It allows you to do an 8-inch wide die, so you can do A4. But since I am working with a Sizzix Big Shot machine, and that is what I work with primarily, the standard machine, I just gave that stencil a little haircut. Now, with your machine, you get the base platform and you get a solo shim. You're also going to get 2 clear cutting pads. They start clear, they don't end clear. And to start this technique, I need you to take out the solo shim. We're not going to use this right now, but we will absolutely get to it. We'll come back to it when we're going to die cut. So I have got my base platform down, and this is where those fun little tools from Sizzix come in. I call this a squishy, and I call this a knock-knock. And again, they sell them as a set, and that is going to be your best value always, to buy them as the set. I've got my base platform down. I'm going to take my knock-knock, and then I'm going to take my stencil. So the sandwich is a little bit differently than what we're used to when we're using a squishy and knock-knock. Just remember, it's the white base platform, then the white knock-knock, and then the white stencil, and then my paper right down on top of my stencil. And I can line it up if I want. I can try to get a nice pattern going and line it up. And then my squishy goes right on top of that. And the very last thing I need to add is a cut plate or a do not cut plate or a clear plate that you're using. It doesn't matter so long as you have a Sizzix cut plate over the top. Now I'm going to send it on through, and what's going to happen is that the pressure from the roller is going to force an embossing. It's going to push that squishy down into the stencil, into the paper, and it's going to make it emboss. So forward, and then I can come right back. Certainly not going to hurt it. And done. It's a fairly easy roll. And what I end up with is a piece of paper that now has an emboss to it. It's not deep because it's not an embossing folder, but there is that texture there. Absolutely. So while I'm here, let's just keep going. Let's do a few of these. So again, I have got my base platform, my white knock knock, my white stencil, my blue paper, and my squishy over the top, and then a cut plate. And let's send it on through. And the squishy is going to come out the back side. That's how you know you're doing it right. You're going to see that silicone pad extend in size, and then pull it on back. And now I've got another with texture. Maybe you're just looking for something with a little bit of texture, but flat enough that you can tape elements onto it and still fit it into your envelope for mailing. This is a great way. Think of all of the stencils you already have in your crafty arsenal. Think of them, and remember, the majority of stencils are going to be more along this size so that it will fit through your big shot machine. But I just gave my stencil a little bit of a haircut, and it's not going to hurt it or impact it at all because I just took from the sides. Still can use it all day long with my stencil and stamp tool. And send it on through. So I know there's usually a gasp when I cut something, you know, where I modify something. But if it means that I can still do everything I did with it before, and now even a little bit more because I did a slight modification, well, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Why not? All right, now I have got 3 ready to go. And this is where the sanding block comes in. Now, the easiest way to clean your sanding blocks is to treat them like they were an eraser when you were a kid. You just clap them together and clean them off. I'm gonna bring over one of my embossed, texturized, I suppose texturized is a better word for it, piece of Revealz paper. This sanding block was designed to go for paper. It is by Sizzix. They took the time and the energy and the patience, well, I did too. I was right there with them, to pick just the right sanding block so that you don't tear your paper, nor do you have to sand forever and ever and ever to get a desired result. So they sell 2 to a pack, and I'm gonna say, honestly, for the price, just get these. It's easier, you know it's gonna work. They work for every kind of paper where you're gonna be able to sand but not ruin your paper. That's so important. Yes, you could probably go out to the garage and find something handy, but is it gonna be too much of a grit that it puts a hole in your paper? I don't know. Now look at what I've done. Right? Look at that. Just using my stencil with a haircut. But paper has 2 sides. What if I want to sand the back side to see what that looks like? I certainly can. sand into the back side and you're going to get a completely different look. Yep. Let me chalk this off. There we go. Reminds me of elementary school when I got called up to the to wipe the boards down, and well, I had to give up my recess. All right, so I think we're good here. I've got two distinctly different looks. One side, the other. You decide which one works for you. Really up to you. Take and wipe up all my little paper shavings. And now let's do the next one. Let's try the blue. Let's give it a really nice sanding. So can you imagine that I sanded both sides of that green paper and yet I didn't get a hole in it? That's the testament to the sanding block, not to me, not to the paper. You have to use the right grit for what you're doing. And I just want to expose that color core coming out of the Revealz paper. I just want to expose it. Now when you feel it, you're not going to feel this deep emboss because there was no embossing folder there. But it's amazing how something as simple as a stencil. How many stencils do you have? I know. So let's try this one. Do the back side. And just sand it until my heart's content. I mean, at some point, yes, you could sand it so much that you put a hole in it. Sure you could. But we're not going to get to that point. We don't need to. All we're trying to do is show off that design. I'm even doing the edges just a little bit while I'm here. Sanding those edges just a little bit. Yep. All right, so I've got one side and I've got two. Wipe up my little paper just with a baby wipe. Chalk off. And then the last one I had was the green one. Teal, which is simply beautiful. And I can decide which side I like better. Wipe off all my little paper dust. So the back side is always going to take a little bit longer to sand. And that's because it has more flat area. So it has more of a flat area than all the raised little bumps and dots on the front side. So it takes a little bit longer to sand it, but the result is stunning. I'm just doing the edges a little bit, just to give it a little bit more of a distressed look. All right, so now I've done all three. And then it becomes, what do I want to do with them now? front side, back side. The best thing is, you decide how many stencils do you have that you can now do this with. So I wanted to play with my Swank spirals and my Radiant Rays. These are brand new framelits from Sizzix. I love them. They are mine. You can tell that it's my product. Everything that has this teal side bar right here, you don't even have to look to see that it says Stacey Park. If it's teal, you know that's me. If you see it hanging up at a retailer, you know that's me. If you see it at an online store and you see that, you know it's me. I wanted to play with these two because, one, I absolutely love them. I tried to give you as much as I possibly could in each set. There is a main die, the main die, but I wanted you to have all of these layering pieces so that if you wanted to layer and matte, you could. I also gave you a mat for where the sentiment goes and an additional die to do a background. And you see there was some space along the side, so I added words in for you. The Elegant Rays, or Radiant Rays, has happy birthday for you, happy birthday to you, oh happy day. So you can make a couple different sentiments with that. Or my Swank Spirals, which also has a main die, but then all of these fabulous layering pieces, right? Amazing. I also got sentiments in on these. We've got just saying hello, hello friend, hello sunshine, and hello love. Also with an extra little piece for a mat for your sentiments. But look at all the layering options you have. And there's one card here I have to show you where we just used the layering elements to make this happen. So brand new from Sizzix, part of my May collection, as is the stencil that I'm using today. And I thought it would be fun to play with these. So I'm going to take and I'm going to die cut out. That one's pretty. Or maybe that one. I have options. I have options. I think I'm going to do this one. That's certainly very pretty, isn't it? I'm going to take it and cut it down. I'm using opulent paper. This happens to come from the Rose Gold collection. Let's take and maybe we use this one and here. You know, I might want to use this one too. I have options. This is Rose Gold Opulent. The other was Gold Opulent. And then I think I'll grab one in silver. I don't know which ones I'm going to use, but I'm going to cut some hunks of paper and we're going to see what we like. And then maybe a silver. Oh, perfect fit. Perfect use. All right, so let's run some of these through my Big Shot machine and see what I get. Maybe I'll do this and that and this and that, and we'll play. Now that I am done using my stencil, I can put that off to the side, bring my Big Shot machine back over, and this time I am going to need to bring back my solo shim. So I am going to need this because we are die cutting. So my base platform, my solo shim, I'm not going to need my squishy and my knock knock anymore because I'm not trying to emboss. I'm going to need a cut pad at the bottom. And then let's do this one. Oh, maybe I should do this this and this and this and that. All right, and let's send it on through. So again, my sandwich is my base platform, my solo shim, my cut pad, my paper, my die, and then another cut plate on top, or what I call a do not cut plate, which is just a plate that I try not to cut into so that it keeps everything nice and flat and smooth. And this should be a fairly easy roll. This is not an intricate die. I am going through, I think, glitter paper, but it's still not an intricate die, and it should die cut out pretty darn simple. No precision base plate should be needed. So because it's glitter paper, I've got to pop these little bad boys out, but you can see they pull right out. And I can use these little fallouts for something else. And then pop the whole thing out, and there is my die cut. So there's one. Let's do it again. Wash, rinse, and repeat. And then I'll do some of my Swank spiral. Right now I'm using my Radiant Rays. And away we go. Die, everything fell right out. You saw it just fell right out. So I've got two. And now I'm going to take that gotcha tool and bam, pick it right up. Look at that. And it sits right on my maker space. In fact, I've even got a few of the little sentiments already on there. Bam, ready to go. Now I can bring over my Swank spirals and we're going to die cut that. Put on my paper, my die, put it just at a little bit of an angle, the die cut, just a little, have that paper a little bit of an angle. It feeds through the machine a lot easier. And yes, Sizzix dies are compatible with lots of die cutting machines, but always keep in mind it was Sizzix who brought the die cut machine out first. They're the ones who really revolutionized the idea of crafters being able to die cut. And, well, I mean, it is the workhorse of the industry, and that's pretty much what it's known for. Let's pull it out. And again, since I'm on that glittery paper, I do have to kind of pop them out a little bit. Because you're going through paper, you're going through glitter, you're going through adhesive. But then once they're all out, you've got this beautiful die cut. Beautiful die cut. So let's do one more time. And then we will put something together. Roll, roll, roll. Back, back, back. Not an intricate die, so a precision base plate's not necessary. I don't have to twist. I don't have to rotate. I don't have to turn. Oh, everything just fell right out. I mean, it doesn't get much easier than that. And again, I can bring over my gotcha tool and bam. That's what a gotcha tool does. It holds everything that you're using on your workspace all the way down to tiny little sentiments that if you drop in the trash, which I did earlier, see it, look at that. See how easy it picks them up? You don't even have to be all the way on top of them. Look at that. So, gotcha tool has been super popular. Super popular. I've got 4 die cuts now. I've got 3 pieces of paper to play with. And now I can lay them on top and decide what I want it to look like. Oh, I like that. And I like that. No, and I like that. I think these are the three we're going to go with right there. But you can see my paper's a little bit bigger. Now I can choose to leave my paper like this and have my die in the center. I absolutely can. So if I were to do that and I want to put this down, well, let's do this one. That way I have 1 and 1. So if I wanted to leave my paper a little bit bigger, and is this the side that I want to see? Or is this the side that I want to see? It's really up to you. You have the option, you have choices. I'm trying to decide, do I like the gold better? Oh, it looks really good against that. That also looks really, really good. Okay, if I wanted to leave my paper that size and not mat it down, all I have to do is now attach my die cut to it. So I grabbed some sticky dots. Sticky dots are just a really easy way to put down intricate dies. Put it on. No glue, no fuss, no muss, down it goes. And then I could take another piece of paper and mat it. Am I happy with that? I think I am. I freehand. I know you guys would use a trimmer. I'm just a go for it kind of girl. So now I can take and put this down. Mat it right on. Trim it down just a bit. And now I add my sentiment. Now I could come back with a little bit of this. And my little die that's going to allow me to cut a mat for that. Roll this right on over. Bing, bang, boom. Yep, I want to make sure that the die is facing down. Send it through. Put my die right on my gotcha so I don't lose it. a little bit of double-sided adhesive, and that space is ready for a sentiment. We are good to go. And now all I have to do is add my sentiment. But what if I don't want to have this excess all the way around? That's okay. Easy peasy mac and cheesy. Come in, take that larger frame die. Comes with both sets. And I can then take my paper down to a size that is less matty. It's going to leave a little bit of a matte, but not as much as I had. So let's die cut this on out. Put it at just a little bit of an angle. Put on my plate. I haven't changed my sandwich at all. I have got my base plate, my solo shim, a clear cutting pad, my paper, my die, and then my top pad, and sending it on through. Easy roll. This is an open frame die. And the reason I call it an open frame die is, well, it's as open as you can get. Put it right on my gotcha tool. And now, I've got a little bit more of an 1/8 of an inch of a mat. So let's mat that on down. Some sticky dots. Peel it up. My dots have stuck to the back. I can then line it up right on my textured paper that I created with a stencil. Down it goes. I can decide what I want it to look like for a mat. That's pretty. I feel like it's not quite lined up straight. So until my sticky dots are cemented, I have the opportunity to move things. Do I want to do that? Nope, don't like that. I don't know that I have a piece big enough. Nope, too small. All right, we're going with this one. Mat this right down on there, and then I'm going to trim it out. So I picked the side that I wanted to use. It was entirely up to me. Mat this down. And I don't want too big of a mat. This is why the A6 Revealz comes in handy, especially with these dies. It's bing, bang, boom. I haven't used any inks. I didn't use any pastes. And yet I've got this fabulous textured look to my paper. Yep. Just at the end I went off. Oh, good. And then I can bring over, maybe I use a little bit of this one. And you know what? It looks like I crinkled this one. I think I'm going to cut this again. Looks like I crinkled it. So I'm going to grab another piece of that, and hopefully I don't crinkle it. Because it's a specialty finish opulent paper, if you fold it, you're going to see it. Bring over my die right off my gotcha tool because I didn't lose it. I have it right there. And in fact, since I have 2 of these, slightly different sizes. I need to make sure I use the right one with the right one. So this one should go here, yes. And that one should go there, right? Yes. Okay, just making sure. Measure twice, cut once. And I can just roll them right on through. And now I'm going to try not to bend that rose gold one. Put them both on my gotcha tool. Bring my rose gold on over. Put it right here. And bam! We're about done. Think about how many stencils you own. Think about how nice it is to have a nice big A5 stencil that will go through your Big Shot machine with a little bit of a haircut, or your Switch or your Plus machine without a haircut at all. There we go. So now I'm ready for a sentiment. That's better. I feel better about that. It had a little bit of a crease down there. That was not working for me. I'm a little A-type. Hi, I'm Stacey, licensed designer for Sizzix, Jacquard, and Couture Creations, slightly A-type. But I also freehand, so how A-type can I be? This one. Right in there. Bing, bang, boom, we're getting them done. And then all I have to do is add some sentiment. I didn't even do this one yet. I'll come back to that one later when I'm crafting all by myself. And then I can just add whatever sentiment makes my heart happy. And of course, I've got a couple sentiments here. If I want to put hello friend or happy birthday. Is that what I've got out? I think I've got the happy birthday out. How about just happy day? That looks like a day. And this looks like a happy. Teeny tiny. To do this, let's see, I'll do happy day here. So maybe I use this paper, and to make this easy peasy, I'm just going to take a little bit of double-sided adhesive and put it on the back side of my paper. I'm not going to try and cut through the adhesive. I'm using it as a kiss cut. All I want is for the adhesive to stick onto my dies. Let's send them on through. So I'm not going to try and cut all the way through. Don't try to cut all the way through that adhesive liner. Don't worry about it. All you care about is that when you pull it up, the actual die has the adhesive on it. So my adhesive is up here. I'm gonna send them on through. And bam. Let's get my tweezers. And see, I'm not worried about whether I try to get all of that out. Here's the die cut. All I needed to do is to come right out like that. Boom. And it's got adhesive on it. Now all I have to do is stick it right down. Today was a happy day. Oh, come on. There we go. Oh, now it's stuck to me. Okay, we're good. Pop out that little fallout right there and put it down. Happy day. Crooked. And bam! Look at that, we're done. Easy peasy. It doesn't get any easier than this. Really, it doesn't. And taking that stencil and giving it a haircut, you're not changing the structure of the stencil. You're not harming the stencil. You're not cutting it in half. You're not getting rid of the little holes at the top. We're just trimming it down so that we can fit it through our Big Shot machine. How about a little piece of, how about just a little piece of the green? And we'll just do the same happy day since I've got them out. A little bit of adhesive on the back. Bring over my dies. So did you learn something you didn't know before? Did I remind you something you forgot about? That's the goal. Did you see how easy it is to use my Sizzix products in so many different ways? You may start with the stencil and the stamp and use it just like it's intended, but there's so many other options. As you grow in your creativity, my products with all of the companies, Sizzix, Jacquard, Couture Creations, they are meant to grow with you. That's the goal, is that as you learn, as you get adventurous, you have product to play with that started you off but also took you to the next level. My designs are very foundational. They're very much elements that you want to have on your making space all the time because they are not themed out. You can make them any theme you want or use them with somebody else's collection that might be a little bit more trend forward. You always need to have those staples in your crafty arsenal ready to go. And that is my forte. That's what I excel in. Giving you product that you can do this and this and this and this and that with, so that when you spend those hard-earned dollars, and let me tell you, they are hard-earned, you're getting the most you can. See, I can't pick that die up. I don't know if you can hear it. It's driving me crazy. I'm just gonna take my gotcha tool and bam. Look at how cute are they. All done with that stencil as your backdrop. So I did these for you today. I did a few more a little earlier. How cute is that, right? Darling, all done with opulent paper and Revealz. Super cute. for you. Happy birthday, all done using that stencil as my backdrop. All using that stencil as the textural element in my backdrop. But then I have a few more over here where, like I said, here we just used all of those fallouts to do the bottom piece. We layered them all back in. Look at how cute is that. We didn't even use the main die. And here, I did this in a YouTube. I took that stencil and stenciled on top of pattern paper, added the sentiment, and bam, we're done. Again, I stenciled right on top of pattern paper. All it needs is that sentiment, and we're done. Here we took one of my stamps from my March collection with Sizzix, stamped it, colored it, and then die cut it and paper pieced it back into my Swank spirals. Isn't that beautiful? And here's the Swank spirals with all the detail, all the bells and the whistles, all the different layering pieces, and there's that stencil again as a backdrop. Just saying hello. And then the last one, stencil only. Bam, done. So we played a lot today. We learned that you can give a stencil a haircut. If you need it to fit through your machine and it's not going to impact the integrity of the stencil, give it a haircut. We learned that I have a new stencil out, which is relatively inexpensive. It's a single layer stencil and the price for it is so good considering it is a full A5 that coordinates with a stamp set from my March collection. We played with the sanding tools and the squishy and the knock knock and my Swank spirals and my radiant rays. All of this is out on the market waiting for you to come and be creative with. You can do this, and you're going to join me every Tuesday when I bring you a Take Two Tuesday, featuring my collection, my products from Sizzix, Jacquard, and Couture Creations. Now, next week is going to be a little special. Next week, we're going to start at 4 p.m. sunny California time, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Why 4 p.m.? Because then once I am done, you are going to go to Facebook, you are going to go to the HSN Facebook page, and I will be doing a live Facebook in the 5 o'clock hour. I'm not sure where they're putting me, but I'll be in the 5 o'clock hour. So we're going to live chat here next Tuesday at 4 p.m. And then at 5 p.m., you're going to go to the HSN Facebook page and we're going to live chat all over again. So join me every Tuesday for our Take Two Tuesdays, where we feature independent retailers, we feature online retailers, and my products from these amazing companies. I am Stacey, a licensed designer for Sizzix, Jacquard, and Couture Creations. Thanks for spending your time with me. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. All right, you guys, bye.